do two or three things at one time, then you got the biggest potential. You're a candidate for arthritis. Because if you don't learn how to put one hat on at a time and put the other hats off, not back here where you can still see them, and worry about them, and wonder when they're going to get done, you know? You just got to learn to be satisfied with one hat, do the best you can on that. When you're done, take that hat off and then work on something else while you're deep breathing. All right? So people have hectic lifestyles, and they're doing more than they're supposed to be doing in a day. And when you do that, that makes you acid. All right?
Can it make you too alkaline also?
Only after a while, after it shuts down your bowel and stuff. No one is really alkaline. There's no one that's really alkaline. You're only alkaline for 3 reasons. Your bowel's backed up, your gallbladder's not working, or you had drugs deposits in your body. It's the only reasons.
When you have drug deposits in your body, where do they store?
Again, they could go in the joints, in your colon, they could be anywhere. Liver, brain. Okay? Okay, so we want to deal with the mental and emotional. Don't go out of your way to watch TV because that makes you acid. This election's got to make everybody acid. You know? So you really got to do some deep breathing to help you out there. But don't go out of your way to get more stress than you already got in your lifestyle. Why watch TV and listen to all that stress?
Even if it's funny?
Yeah, if it's funny.
If it's good TV?
Yeah, but again, it's intense, isn't it? Even the funniness is intense, but usually there's always something associated with the funniness that's stressful. Usually. But anyways, if you can do some deep breathing, that helps.
I thought laughing is
Helps.
supposed to help.
Sure does, because it helps you breathe. Can't laugh without breathing, can you? Did you ever try? Can't do it. Okay? So it helps us because you have to breathe more when you're laughing. So that's good. But you can do that without having something to laugh at. Right? So we can't wait until we just get a good laugh.
Is that the reason people yawn?
Not enough oxygen.
Huh?
Not enough oxygen.
Yeah. You're yawning, you're taking in a deeper breath.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like
Okay, so
that's why I know.
then we got physical reasons, of course, for the acid. And of course, that's too many acid foods. Your most acid food are your meats. Okay? And especially use steroids like chickens and beef and pork to fatten them up. That's more acid. Steroids to put in there to stimulate them, okay? And when you eat that meat, you get the steroids and it stimulates you, with giving you more acid. All right? So Porky the pig and all those guys, of course, Porky the pig's a scavenger, so it eats waste. So it's a lot more acid than any of the other, like beef and chicken and turkey. Yeah, pork does. Yeah, the piggy eats his own waste. Piggy likes
Well, they force
droppings.
Well, they force them to do that too because they have them stacked above each other, and it literally drops onto the next one under.
Well, that's how they feed them. Say they got this
That's how they
pyramid,
feed
say, and each one feeds what they just have to feed the top one, then they don't have to feed the bottom one. See. A lot of places they've had to cut. A lot of places they've had to really get at some of these cities because they were taking their garbage and going to the pig farms and getting rid of it. And a lot of cities have been doing that. So anyways, it's a garbage that you're eating when you eat a pig.
And the steroids are acid because any drug is acid.
Right. Well, steroid, no, not all the drugs are acid, but steroids is very extremely acid. That's why athletes like to get it. What it gives them extra strength. Because the steroids kick their adrenals. It's acid. It's pure acid in there. Where you think you're going to kick, you're going to kick, you know. Your body's kicking too. But you're wearing it out. And you're only getting away with it until your oils break down. Then the symptoms are going to start showing up. It starts out by cricking and cracking and grinding. And when you pull your finger out, you know, that's a sign your oil's getting low. When you can crack your knuckles and stuff. Now you're really getting bad if you can crack your ears. And your nose. And you're really in trouble.
What about when your own adrenaline kicks in? Is that a real acid?
When you're on the what?
When your own adrenaline.
Well, raw adrenal, if you're low, you're okay. But again, if you're acid, you wear out your adrenals. Okay? Okay. Kind of hold your questions because I won't get this done. Okay, I'll probably answer it all before I get done, okay? So I can get going in here. Okay. The meats, then your grains, your nuts, your cheese, your eggs, your grains, your potatoes, your breads, and all of those things are acid. Okay, what are your acid eaters? The veggies, the non-starchy vegetables, especially the green ones. Things that have chlorophyll in are very good for a good painkiller. Why? Because it neutralizes the acid so the blood can pick up more oxygen. Okay? So our goal should be to neutralize the acid, not thin your blood out and make you more acid to get rid of the symptoms, but neutralize the acid. Help the kidneys get that acid out of the body so it doesn't have to store it. That's our two solutions, either neutralize the acid or help the kidneys get it out of the body. And of course, stop putting it in. Now, some fruits are more acid than others, like your tomatoes are your most acid fruit. So tomatoes are you're asking for trouble. And then you've got also cranberries, prunes, pineapple. They're your most acid overall type fruits. Your other acid fruits are alkaline forming because they have fiber that alkalizes you, so they don't make you more acid. Like grapefruit juice makes you more alkaline. So unless you have some real severe symptoms, you usually can get by with grapefruit juice. And lemon juice is one of the best things you can do for arthritis because it alkalizes you, even though it's an acid fruit. All right? So some of the things that we look at aren't as obvious because of the way the designations that we put on them. Okay, so we want to, now of course you got all your liquids. Coffee, you think that's acid or alkaline?
Acid.
Lipton, huh? Acid. Lipton tea?
Acid.
It's acid. All those are high in acid. See, pop?
Acid.
That's about a pH of 2. Most of your pop is a pH of 2. You ever heard about Coke dissolving nails? That's why. It's a pH of 2. It's acid. It'll just eat it right up. Okay, so we got a lot of these acid drinks out there. Gatorade's one of them. Oh, sure. Gatorade is just chemicals, not even a drink. Just dirty water. Okay? Oh, yeah, sure. That's why they burn out so fast and why they have all these shots just to keep the pain down with what they're going through, you know. Okay, so we want to cut down the acid things that we're putting in our body, get more alkaline things. That's the food. Food's only 5% of our energy. Overeating. When you overeat a good food, you'll turn acid. Gluttony is next to drunkenness. And the reason is that when you overload the digestive system, it can't handle it, so it just sits there and pollutes the temple. So you might as well go out and get drunk. So overeating, even good foods, is making you too acid. Eating at the wrong time. When you eat past 6, your food's going to be acid. I don't care what you eat, except for some fruits and maybe just a raw salad, if you chew it good. But your digestive system slows down after 6 as the sun moves away from us. Just like right now, your digestive juices are being deactivated. They're being shut down to rest up to get recharged for the next day. Should never eat meat past 2. When you eat meat past 2, it takes 4 hours at 2. 12 to 2, it takes 8 hours between 5 and 6. 10 hours when you get past 7. You're working on it all night, and you still don't break it down, so it turns to uric acid.
That include fish?
All meats. So there's where your gout can come from, your arthritis, your stones, kidney stones, gallstones. See, if that acid can't get through the kidneys and you keep putting acid through the kidneys all the time, you're going to separate out the calcium that's in the kidneys, and they're going to form stones. All right? So that's why that's why we get kidney stones.
Or gallstones?
Gallstones, you get acid bile. You get too much acid in the liver, and the liver bile gets too acid, then it forms stones, or too alkaline, it forms stones, either way.
So what happens if you have a gallbladder operation and then you continue the same lifestyle?
Then it's going to get the stones in your liver instead of the gallbladder. Still haven't corrected the cause. Just changing places.
The stones will go to the liver?
Forming the liver. Because it's still providing the bile. Okay? So we need to work the time that we eat. It's very important not to eat breakfast, nothing but just fruit for breakfast. If you eat a heavy cereal or toast or meat in the morning, that's when you need the water to do the cleaning, to get the acid out of your body. And it can't do both. And if you eat and then drink a lot of water to clean out, you're also going to dilute the digestive juices, and then it's just going to sit there and turn acid on you, ferment on you. And that's where a lot of yeast comes from, too, because you get yeast and bacteria. And see, bacteria in your body also attacks your muscles and your joints. And what they do is they dry out your oils just like the acid does, because yeast, as it feeds on things that are in our joints and muscles that aren't supposed to be there, obstructions, and so they're there to feed on them and clean them out. But as they clean them out, they form acid byproducts, and that begins to break down and cause infections. Okay? So then you start getting infections showing up in your joints. That's a bursitis too, see? Acid can cause infections, but so can yeast as it begins to work on waste that can't get out of your body that has to be stored. Okay? So you got to watch eating a lot of fermenting type foods, because they just sit there and ferment when they can't be digested. That's why when you overeat, eat too much or eat at the wrong time, the bacteria feeds on these foods because they're not being digested. And then the end result is they leave byproducts that are very irritating to your mucous membranes, which are supposed to protect you. And they break down the mucous membranes eventually, and there you got the same symptoms that we were talking about before. You want to chew your foods real good. Mix it with that saliva, about 30 times each bite, because under your tongue it analyzes it, so the brain can tell the digestive system how to process what you're eating. If you bypass that and just gulp it down, then it's going to sit there and turn acid on you. And the yeast usually takes over and feeds on it. So that supplies what these symptoms have to have in order to exist. Now we need our water. Kidneys need the water to keep flushing these acids out. So drink half your weight, generally half your weight in ounces of water each day. In the morning should be 5 of those glasses, not over 8 ounces per hour. Don't drink a lot in the afternoon because that's your digestive time. And pick up a couple in the evening. But spread that water out because it helps your kidneys get what they need to do their job. If they don't get enough water, then they don't do their job. Now you got to make up for what you sweat out. Drink extra water when you're sweating, extra water when you're talking, because you lose a lot of water when you're talking. When you get dry, then your voice gets to cracking and stuff like that. And that's because you're getting dry. And if you're getting dry and you're speaking, that means your kidney is not getting enough to flush the acids out with. Well, where's it going to store it then? Sometimes it comes out through the skin with your sweating. Then you got irritated skins and all kinds of skin problems showing up. All right? Even boils and hives and all kinds of things like that. That's really arthritis of your nerves. When you have hives.
Called neuritis. Is that
Right,
Okay.
right, see? So, what we're talking about is the bottom line cause of it. If you don't get enough water, then you're vulnerable to this. Then our breathing. Our breathing, when we take in oxygen, we do deep breathing, it alkalizes our body. That's why when you're under stress and under pressure, things like that, breathe deeply. See, because it will keep your body from going acid when you're under that pressure and stress. Because you go acid because you let the stress tighten you up and keep you from breathing good. And when you're not breathing good, your oxygen level goes down, and then your body kicks in the adrenals and becomes acid in order to keep you going handling the stress. And then what's the kidney going to do with the excess? Oh, my hip. You know? It's got to store it, see?
Do just a few deep breaths make the difference?
Well, I recommend 5 minutes 5 times a day, and that's why I've got on your sheet 5 minutes before each meal. Why do you think I have you do that? Oh, it's going to relax you, isn't it? What if you're going to eat that meal like you're working? Mm-hmm. You know, you're working the food, not chewing the food and digesting the food, you see? You're treating it like part of your job. And it is a job, but it deserves our undivided attention. So it's a way to take the work hat off and put the food hat on, is just relaxing and getting that oxygen in there. And when you digest your foods, you need to be going to the alkaline side. Alkalinity helps digest your foods. So when you're breathing deeply, you're becoming more alkaline. So you digest better because of it too. All right? Got the picture? And you want to rest at night. So you want to do a deep breathing before you go to bed at night to kind of help you rest and get that oxygen in there. At night, rest is very important because while you're sleeping, all your cells are getting saturated with oxygen. They're getting replenished. During the day, you're using it like crazy, aren't you? So at night, one of the things that you're getting while you're resting, if you don't eat pizza before you go to bed, eat too late, okay, is that you're getting your cells and your tissues are like a magnet, are drawing extra oxygen into there while they're resting. Because while they're working, they're using that oxygen. Now, if you're working all night, when are you going to get your oxygen recharged? You're not. So then you're acid. You're more acid because of that. See, because you wake up acid when you go to bed, you should be turning alkaline all night so that when you get up in the morning, you're beginning to turn acid again to get going again, and then by the end of the day, you got to charge it back up. If we do the deep breathing through the day and eat sensibly, keep our balance of acid-alkaline foods, then we're in business. And that's what we got to learn to do. You have to be in bed by 10 tonight to start that charging time. You can't just go to bed anytime you want and say, well, that takes care of that. There's a certain time to sleep, certain time to eat, certain time to drink. And when you don't cooperate with these laws that our Creator set up as it relates to our planet and the environment that we live in, then we're going to shorten the existence of this body in this environment. There has to be an agreement and cooperation there. And that's what I'm trying to teach you, how to cooperate with your outside environment and with the environment inside your body. Okay? So that's the cause. How do we remedy this stuff? How do we get rid of the cancer? Or not the cancer, but the arthritis or rheumatism or stones and so on? If they're acid, if it's due to acid, all we got to do is make you alkaline. There is no stone that will not dissolve if you go alkaline. Okay? If there are acids in your joints and muscles, we got to get it out of there. So the best exercise for getting acid out of the joints and muscles is water exercises. Not jogging and all this impact type stuff, because all you're doing is tearing and pulling at those even more. So water exercises where you're letting the water support your frame while you're doing movement, that helps the circulation and helps remove the acids. Now Epsom salt baths are good for that. Soaking in Epsom salt baths, why did they put Epsom salts on a swollen foot? Why does it help the swelling go down? Why does it do that? Because it's magnesium in there. Epsom salt has magnesium. And that's important to helping the circulation or getting to move those acid salts out of that tissue spaces where it's at. So we want to work with that. That's one of the things that we can do. Massaging and things like that are ways that you can help the circulation. Anything that helps the circulation without stimulating and making you acid at the same time. All right? So anything.
Like a relaxing exercise.
Right. That emphasizes the breathing. The breathing is whatever we do, whether it's in water, whatever, is what we need to get around, because that breathing carries oxygen with it, doesn't it? And we want oxygen in those joints. We want oxygen in those kidneys with those stones, and so on and so forth. We use olive oil. I use olive oil like by the canful, right? Mm-hmm. Olive oil, there's no kidney stone, gallstone, spur, calcium deposit that will not be dissolved by olive oil. It'll dissolve all of them. It's got to get there, though. Okay? So we use olive oil as a way of cleaning out some of these things. And you want to take it regular. Again, only 1 tablespoon with your meals. You don't want to drink too much olive oil with your meals. So we take extra 2 tablespoons with some juice on empty stomach. You can take more to do some cleaning. I usually go over that with you. We can take gallbladder flush. That's a good way to flush those kidney gallstones out. And a gallbladder flush will also clean kidney stones out.
What is that?
It's just taking extra olive oil with lemon juice. There's about 6 different kinds. And there's a lot of books out on that. So we can do that. If we could get a good source and not waste it, we could have baths in olive oil. Some people are so acid they need to have a bath in cod liver oil. Now, cod liver oil has lots of vitamin A and D. Now, the reason why the calcium's separating out and why the mucous membranes are breaking down is they don't have enough vitamin D to make the lubricant that protects your tissues and cells. All right? And also your mucous membranes need vitamin A. Vitamin A is always deficient when you have arthritis or stones. Always a deficiency, vitamin A. So cod liver oil has them both in. So why not take a nice big couple tablespoons of cod liver oil before you go to bed? And on an empty stomach, you need to take it on an empty stomach, and it goes right to the joints and muscles. If you get it on an empty stomach and starts lubricating everything. Unless your gallbladder's not working too good. Okay? Most people that have arthritic problems and stones and gravel have gallbladder problems. Because the gallbladder and the liver have the responsibility of providing bile that emulsifies the oil so your body can bring the oils that it needs into the body and use them. So when it's not working, you get real dry. Skin gets dry, you get dry inside and so on. Okay? So we need lots of vitamin A. Now you won't pill in the vitamin A if you're low in potassium. Everybody that's acid has low potassium. So we got to get that potassium mineral on there. And if you don't have enough B6, you can't pull in the potassium. See, everything needs something else. In other words, if your sodium is too high, then your body will not accept the potassium no matter how much you put in your diet or how much supplementation you take. Okay? So it's one thing to take something that you need, but you got to make sure the body can accept it. Or you wouldn't be low in the first place if your body was using it. So there's got to be a reason why it's not taking it in and using it, right? Either it's not in the diet or the body's not picking it in, picking it up. Your adrenals need to be active and good in order to pick up potassium because it sends out a hormone that tells the body when to bring the potassium in. So if your adrenals are on vacation in the Bahamas, which we all need to give them probably that vacation, but not when we're under stress, then it won't tell the body that it needs potassium. And so you're just putting it right on through your bowel. And you never get it to your joints and muscles to help with that acid. Okay? So everything needs something, and there's a reason why the body's not doing its job. So it's missing something that we can give it if we just know what it is and if we'll just take the time to work it into our lifestyle. And you're the only one that can do that. Can't depend on others. A lot of times we do that and then we go through the motions, but we really don't do a good job at it. So we have to take the responsibility for making these adjustments in there. So there's things like that we can do that help the body get some of these things it needs to reverse the problem. But even after the symptoms are gone, you get some lubrication in there. There still has all those tissues and cells that have been damaged and broken down have to be rebuilt. And that takes time. So if you do it just long enough to get the symptoms gone and you go back to your same old lifestyle you're asking for, and it's going to come back with a vengeance. Because the body is going to get tired of that and say, well, fooey on you, I'm not going to work with you this time. And you lose your resolve when you do that too. It's not good. Diets are bad. Diets are killing people because they keep straining the body. They do it for a while, then they stop doing it. It's just back and forth. It's better to cheat regular than to do perfectly and then bomb out. See, because the body it's going to get tired of working with you after a while, and then you're in trouble. Because it just quit on you. You won't try. You just do that so many times. I just say, well, fooey on you. I'm tired of this going back and forth. That's why it's harder. So you ever done something once, and boy, it just seems so nice, but the next time you just went off, and the next time it was just so hard. To get started again. And don't do that. Please don't do that. That's what's called, you've heard of child abuse, right? It's called body abuse. And so we need to learn how to cooperate the body and give it what it needs. So look at some of these things and begin to think, what is there in my lifestyle that I can do to help with this acid condition? The yeast is just there because of invitation. And it's because we're not getting enough oxygen.